somebody in your car, in a house, on the highway. Jonesy in the flyway. Turn your volume up, it's a party. You can do it again and again. Come on in, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get it moving like, hey. What up, Jonesy? Hey, what a way to start the day. Go and say hi, she on her life. She tooling. Mouth too slick, too slick, too slick. Hey, Jonesy, Jonesy in the morning. Got you lit, let's take from it. Girl, let's give it ice. It's Jonesy in the morning. Jonesy in the morning. With shade and laughter, shade and laughter me. Na 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 na. In the morning.
That's Tracy. Tracy did the booking. Tracy did the curating. Tracy did the, can we switch the interview from Wednesday to Thursday? Tracy did the scheduling. Tracy did the questions. Tracy did the, and then I tried to give Tracy an honorarium. And she was like, I don't want your money. Your money's no good here. I just want, if the day should come. Tracy, am I telling too much of our business, Tracy? She said my money's no good with her. But thank you. Tracy, excuse me for a minute while I handle my business. No, your great-grandma and grandma were not pregnant at the same time, Tika. No, they weren't. How old were they? Now, unless they were 40 and 25. How old were they, Tika? I'm going to wait. Tika, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, Tika. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I got to do two at the same time for that. Tika tried to take me out, y'all. Tika, what the hell? What the helly? What the fucky? Tika, talk to me. Tika, talk to me. Hi, Ron P. Oh my God, Tika took me out, and here come Ron. Ron, New York, Nick P.
Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks. Oh wait, what happened? What'd I do?
Nothing. We hear you.
Oh, but I can't see you.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, what up, Jonesy? What up, chat?
Hey, boo, hey. So go
What's
ahead,
going
break
on?
it on down. I ain't never met a Jalen I ain't love. Where'd he go? Oh, and now our guest is going to be here in like, my great-grandma was 55. And how old was your grandmother? If your great-grandma was 55, how old was your grandmother for both of them to be pregnant at the same time? No judgment. Hey, Ron, you back? Can you hear? Kitty?
I'm back.
Okay, good.
What up, Jonesy?
I said I never met a Jalen that I didn't love.
Brunson Burner, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, man. Shout out to the New York Knicks. I'm sure everybody, unless you were under a rock, you didn't see the Knicks take game one of the series. Yo, that was an amazing game. The Knicks are on fire, 105-95. They ended up winning by 10. 12th game in a row that they won. 7th road game straight by double digits, which is unheard of. Nobody has ever done this before. The Knicks are magical. Orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies.
So here's what I want to say from an outsider looking in, because you have real perspective. I have outsider perspective. We got on the game late, but when we got on, they were behind by I think 6. And they were going into, I think, the second quarter. And then I think the second, either they just tied it up or something at the end of the second, and then they went into the third. The third semester is when the rubber rubber meets the road, because by that time it's all about conditioning.
Okay, so here's the thing. So at one point we were down 14, right? But this is where
Woo!
they have, does Russ play a part? Because remember, we had a 8 or 9 day layoff since we swept Cleveland. We swept the last two series, so we had a 9 day layoff before we played Cleveland. Then we swept Cleveland and had another 9 day layoff. While both teams that we played against, both Cleveland and San Antonio, came off 7 game series. So yeah, fatigue does set in when you first start the game. Yeah, you're a little on fire. The adrenaline is in there, but when you start getting into that third quarter, and even later in the series, when you start getting into the late games in the series, games 4 or 5, that's when that fatigue of playing a back-to-back 7 game series is gonna kick in.
I
So
saw that. I noticed that. I was like, now is when the coaching has to
yeah,
kick in and the strategy because
right.
they
There's some
picking the
adjustments that got to
ball
be made.
right because they caught up and now it's everybody's motherfucking winded and they're all playing hard nonstop. That Nate Robinson guy, I know he's on the enemy side, but that nigga came through.
Nate
When
Robinson? What do you mean, Nate Robinson?
Nate Jackson Johnson, Nate, somebody named Nate, that tall boy on the other team.
Wemby?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Wemby.
when he did that slam dunk, I didn't want him to
Oh,
get
Wemby.
it.
That was Wemby. That was Wemby. Yeah, Wemby had a nice dunk.
Oh
Listen,
my God.
he's the best player in the NBA. 7'4" point guard, pretty much. He can do everything on the court. And shout out to him. He's not. I mean, bottom line is tomorrow the Spurs are not going to play bad like that. They are going to come back with vengeance. They also have been through this when they played their last series. So with Minnesota, they lost game 1 at home the same way. Ended up coming back to win. So are they going to come back and play hard? Yes. But the Knicks just have this attitude that they are all in together. They have
Yep.
this attitude of not being selfish. Like Josh Hart only scored maybe 6 points, but had like 14 or 15 rebounds and was contributing that way. So the Knicks have this attitude that they're going to contribute in any way for the bigger picture. Like Carl Anthony Towns had an amazing game last night. He was aggressive last night, but sometimes he may not be aggressive, but he's a facilitator. Like they don't care.
It's the
Brunson
it's
scared
the
us and got hurt and still came back. Like
it's
it
it's
just
it's no ego and it's what
yes,
championship teams are made of. It happens in football, it happens in all sports. You see it click. And that's when you
yes.
know this ain't happen chance. This is they got that synergy. And
They just have that they have that glow around them. That's if y'all familiar with the Last Dragon, they got that glow
they all
that
lock in
showing
at the
glow.
same time.
Yeah,
And the coach don't get in the way, but
yeah. He
he's
does what he has to
coaching.
do on the coaching side and the strategic side. Like the Knicks bench, I mentioned this before to everybody, man. This Knicks bench is amazing. Like from you go to Deuce McBride, you go to Jose Alvarado, you go to Landry Shamet coming in hitting 3 pointers. Big Mitch Robinson coming to help out with Wemby, in case Cat picks up foul troubles. You got bench players that all play a role, like Jordan Clarkson. Like I just named 5 bench players that all contribute to our win. Like they can all step in and contribute. That's really big when it comes to a series like this. And another thing, although both teams, I mean, the Spurs are very young, and the Knicks haven't been to this part before. We haven't been to the finals before with this team, of course, but they are grown men playing against younger kids. Like the Spurs are a very young team. Kids are 20 years old, 21 years old. And sometimes, man, you get a big grown man body like OG leaning on you and doing all even Victor Wembanyama, I think he's what, 22. So when you got a grown ass man, Cat been in the league for years, somebody like that leaning on you and bodying you up, it makes a difference. And in all sports, football, whatever. When you start getting older and bigger, it starts
So
taking its toll.
so question, I hope it's not a stupid one. Does basketball have transfer portal too in college?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Did
And as
they
far as
start
the
it first?
reclass, I know the transfer portal became it's an NCAA thing, so it has to be across the board.
Okay.
But when it comes to traditional, I will say this, and you can relate to this: this whole reclassing thing that me and you always talking about. Oh,
Yeah.
basketball originated that. They're the ones that made that popular.
Okay.
AAU has made that popular. Like AAU is the first place I've ever even heard of when you got this kid that's 7 feet tall talking about he's 14 years old playing with 12-year-olds. Like that's the first place you saw all of that, and then football picked it up afterwards. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what happened. And also, Jones, I want to give a shout out, man. People may not realize in this finals on both sides, we have a lot of New York and New Jersey representation on that court. I mean, you talking
Ah.
about Jose Alvarado from the Knicks, who went to Christ the King. You talking about Julian Champagny from the Spurs, he went to Bishop Loughlin in Brooklyn. You got
Ah.
Carl Anthony Towns. He's from New Jersey. He's from Inglewood, New Jersey. Went to St. Joe's Metuchen. We got
Oh.
a lot of New York representation. I'm probably leaving out somebody too. Oh, of course, we got Steph Castle who has ties to Far Rockaway. New
Uncle
York
Easy
and New Jersey
Money.
representation out there on that court too. So that feels good too,
I
man. Watching
I
these
love
dudes.
I love the fact that the bench don't mind being the bench. The
Nah,
bench
man.
plays their position. The bench don't have attitude.
Facts.
Ron, oh my God, I gotta go because my guest is here. My
All right, go ahead, Jonesy. I'll speak to y'all after. I'll speak to y'all Monday because the game is tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in. Love y'all. Glad we can do this Nick report. We'll have one on Monday. Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you.
Later, y'all. Always.
All right, let me get our guests. Hold on. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Jonesy, ladies and gentlemen. This is Richard Bond. RJ Bond is his full name, and I'm very, very pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
So I know you're in town doing your publicity stuff. How has New York been treating you?
I love New York. New York has been amazing since 19 years ago when we first dropped the first Tupac assassination movie. New York with just open arms. We had such a tremendous turnout even back then. Every time I come to New York, it's a blessed event. People are just amazed. The curiosity, the conviction that people have that they follow the case. It's from the heart. And that's what I really love about New York is that the people are genuine. Not a lot of showy stuff like you get in LA. It's very much, no disrespect to LA, but I feel people in New York are so genuine, and their love for Pac is deep.
I mean, you've been at this for 7 years at least that we know about. So obviously you're invested, like it's beyond just being a fan. It's beyond.
Oh yeah.
So
We're 20 years in on it, almost 20 years now. 19 years ago I dropped Tupac assassination in 2007. So we're really, we've been dug up a lot of ground, that's for sure.
So in all the documentaries and the movies and the information that you found and that you've published, what was the most shocking thing that you found out that you didn't know?
Well, it's interesting because I think one of the most shocking things was how fast after the shooting happened that a group of people got together to try to make a narrative happen. And these were cops and former cops and death row people, and just how fast they tried to jam together a narrative that they would try to keep selling, years and years later. I think that was the most shocking to me is how fast they were actually able to get, phone calls getting made and everything to each other, and how fast they did. Because, when you look at the case and you come into it late, like I came into it about 11 years after the shooting. So there's a little bit of time that passed. And when you look at it, you say, okay, here's the accepted narrative. Maybe it's Orlando Anderson. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's death row. These things are kind of baked in over the years, people just kind of common knowledge, what people thought, this is what's out there. But when you go back and you start digging backwards to it, you realize that it was so fast that a group of people got together and said, okay, this is it. This is what we're going to sell. This is what we're going to pass the whole thing off. And they never really gave Vegas PD an opportunity to hit the ground running in terms of cooperation of witnesses. They were actually hiding people, not making people available for interviews. That Vegas would call death row and say, hey, we want to talk to this person. And they, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And then they'd end up in New Jersey, like Yaki Fula, ended up in New Jersey and ended up dead. So they never really got a good chance. I think that's probably the most shocking is how fast everybody tried to get together and get a narrative about it.
Do you think that was by design? What somebody was trying to hide something, and how were they able to get so far with it without somebody saying, y'all got to slow down because we haven't done this, and this is the order in which things need to be?
Well, it was two things. I think the Vegas police were lazy in a lot of different ways. I'll just put it out there like that. What they would do is, and they made various excuses about it, but anytime they wanted to do police work, they wouldn't go to where the action was. They wouldn't go to Compton. They wouldn't go to LA. They wouldn't go there. They stayed in Vegas, try to figure it all out when it was kind of an LA problem to begin with anyway. And when they did that, they would rely on one or two specific individuals with death row that were very much, I will say, police friendly, but they were like, oh, if you want to talk to anybody, you talk to me and I'll coordinate everything. So they got lazy and they just relied on one or two people to kind of manage the information, manage the witnesses, and those are the same people that were hiding witnesses and telling witnesses to be someplace else and telling them you don't need to talk to the cops. So it's kind of that that hypocrisy where on one side they're telling the cops, oh yeah, I'll help you, and on the other side they're saying, hey, no, if you can show up and not get subpoenaed. I mean, that was the big thing. You've got the head of death row security, Reggie Wright Jr., telling people like Frank Alexander to avoid subpoenas. If you can avoid a subpoena, you'll be all right. And we got that in cover up. It's his words, don't avoid subpoenas. So you have a lot of interference there. That's really the big thing.
So if Keefe D said on camera that the authorities don't have anything on him, no gun, no car, and they can't even place him at the scene, but then he wrote a whole book about that night, how does he do both things?
Right. Well, it's a great question. There's actually a term that I just learned a couple of days ago. I'll share it with you. I was talking to an author friend of mine. She's published several books. Shout out to Courtney. She told me about a term called autofiction, and I'd never heard that term before. But in the literary industry, there's a whole term, and what it is, it's a fictional autobiography. So you get the autobiography and the fiction, where it's somebody's alleged life story, but it's so filled with fiction that you really don't know. And I look at even like Trump's book, Art of the Deal. You look at that and you say, well, I mean, did he really do all those things he said he did? And how much of that's real and how much of that is he just making stuff up? And what's interesting to me is that it happens so often that the industry has a name for it. You know what I mean? So many people bullshit in their autobiographies that there's a name for it. They give it a name, autofiction. So, when you look at a guy, and again, remember, Keefe D didn't write this book by himself. He had a co-author that wrote this with him. Okay. And when you get into that situation, you try to start pulling apart, because I've written a book and I had a co-author on it, and it's almost impossible to figure out who said what. And there's quotes from Charles Dickens in that book. There's quotes from Winston Churchill in that book. And I guarantee you, Keefe D has no idea who Winston Churchill or Charles Dickens is. I guarantee you, he doesn't have any idea who they are. But interestingly enough, we found out just last week, that this book, which is what they're using to indict him on, his words, they're using that book. They didn't even bother to talk to the co-author of that book for 8 years. And just last week, after they've indicted him and he's been in jail for 3 years, now they're going to suddenly talk to the co-author of the book and say, well, how much of it did you write? And how much of it did Keefe write? And how much of it, whose words are who? And that was, let's talk about shocking. That was a surprise too. How do you say that you fully investigated anything if you have a book written by two guys and you never talked to the other guy? How's that work?
I feel like this is happening on a wider scale with what's happening in government right now. Like we all see foul play.
Absolutely.
And we're waiting for someone to do something. Our hands are tied.
Yep.
But we're watching it play out. What's one of the biggest things that people have completely wrong about how Pac was killed?
That's a great question. I have to think about that for a second. I think tying it. I mean, there's that old Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is the best. And people have tied it to the MGM event, to the beating that happened before that. But there was so many other aspects of Tupac's relationship with Death Row and wanting to leave Death Row Records. You know, I was actually able to spend some time with Mo Preem last night. We got together last night and we were talking about that. Mo Preem in his book even talks about, shout out to Mo Preem in his book. He talks about how Pac wanted to leave Death Row Records. I mean, there was so many more big consequential moves going on in the background that something so simple like, oh, he got beat up at the MGM and he was going to take a gun to Club 662. I mean, he has one gun. There's 14 armed Vegas police officers at Club 662 and probably that many Death Row guys that had guns. So your plan is that you're going to go take a single gun to 28 other gun fight. And it's kind of like, that's like the Alamo. I mean, you know, it's kind of a suicide run at that point if you're going to make that happen. So, I do think that there's a lot of people that, if you believe the revenge narrative, there's other revenge narratives. Like, for example, Kevin Gaines, who was the crazy LAPD cop, called 911 on himself. Who does that? And he waving a gun around and waiting for the cops to show up. He was, seeing Sharitha Knight. 4 years they were together. You know, Suge Knight's wife was seeing this LAPD guy. And this LAPD guy had a notorious temper. He waved his gun. He got killed by another cop because he was waving his gun around. If you remember that, the Frank Laga shooting.
This is too much. Like, I'm listening to you like, oh, Suge's wife was having a relationship with a cop. My mind wanted to say, did he send her? Did he send her?
Did that, made LAPD cop.
Right. But my soap opera mind.
Say it again?
My soap opera mind is thinking, did he send her to have a relationship with the cop so that he could have an inside view of when they were coming?
Well, Kevin Gaines was clearly working. He was doing security for Snoop at the time, so he was in the middle of all of that. So when you look at that and you say, well, Suge, according to Sharitha and some other sources, Suge had him beat up. Okay. Suge did not treat him well. He was not looked at well. So I would say, if you're going to believe that Orlando Anderson got his ass kicked at an MGM Grand, and that was enough to make him want to go kill Pac, well, how about the boyfriend of the wife who got beat up? And by the way, he's a hothead LAPD cop. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're going to believe anything, I mean, because there's no evidence in any way, no gun, no car, no witnesses. If you're just going to make stuff up and you're going to pick a narrative that you want to believe, I'd rather believe that a crazy cop that calls 911 on himself, and has an interest in the whole situation. And a lot to lose. Exactly. That and a better shot, I might tell you, and that would also explain why there's an overall reluctance by LAPD, by Vegas PD. When you get cops involved, now you got that blue line and everybody's kind of circling the wagons now. How do we keep this from becoming a problem with the city, with the LAPD? How does that happen? And of course, when Biggie blew up, now we're in deep because we have all these crazy LAPD cops and they don't want any part of that. So I challenge everybody to think, if you're going to believe a simple revenge motive that Orlando Anderson got stomped, and he did, he got stomped and that dislocated his shoulder. If you're going to believe that led to this suicide mission of, going out shooting, and you want to believe this whole big story, which is pretty complicated when you actually start to analyze it. It's not quite as simple as it looks. When you get to that point, isn't there something else that might make a little more sense? And so that's where we do. And of course, again, I say we don't try to make the picture fit the frame. We just put the facts out there, put the story out there, put the narrative out there and say, you pick, you pick. So, but I think KVD, for money reasons, because he was pressured by some dubious, questionable cops, LAPD cops. I think that he felt comfortable assuming a narrative that might make him some money. And of course, like I said, he's not the only person that's ever gone out there and tried to claim he did something he didn't do. and to make a couple bucks, right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
was that dumb? Yeah, it was dumb. Dumb. But in our country right now, to your point, and you hit it so far on the head beautifully, that 8647 flag, that there was a big thing up at the court right now about that the president felt threatened because somebody put 8647 on a flag. And the court said, that's a flag. This is what they have the right to say what they want to say. You may not like it, but they still have the right to say it. If in the absence of any evidence against somebody, we start prosecuting people for shit they said, in the absence of anything else, that's a slippery slope as far as I'm concerned. You got people showing up right now in the UK. You got people showing up. Cops are showing up people's doors for stuff they wrote on Facebook. And that's a fact. We see it. And yet here we are. And this is what really got me more compelled to work with the defense, to work on this, because the day we start prosecuting people and putting people in jail for dumb shit they said, okay, let's just put it out there like that, right? Dumb bleep, if you want to bleep it out, dumb bleep that they said. Why? I don't want to live. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be worried that I say the wrong thing and suddenly, I'm prosecuted.
But that's by design, because somebody got the truth.
Yep.
But now you're fearing them into silence.
Yes.
You brought up Biggie's name, and I can't help but go here. Might you be inclined to do the same level of reporting and journalisming on whether or not Diddy had his hands in Biggie's murder?
Well, it was funny you mentioned that. It was brought up yesterday. I was asked the same question yesterday. A lot of people, because we're in New York. But somebody asked me about 2 years ago, they said, you got Tupac assassination. How about you do Biggie assassination? And I said, it's got a great title. It's got a good ring to it. I kind of like the theme there. One thing that I want to try to get through the trial here, just because the trial takes place in like 68 days. It's right around the corner. It's going to happen. And win, lose, or draw, this is it. Yeah. They're never going to try another man for the murder of Tupac Shakur ever again. And I'll share something with you too, because it hit me like a ton of bricks. During this trial, you know what's going to happen in the middle of this trial?
What?
Because the trial is going to take 6 weeks. The shooting and the death anniversary, the 30-year shooting and death anniversary, are going to happen while we're in court over this. And I'm going to ask for a moment of silence both days, because a man was killed and his life was taken away from him at a very young age. And we can assign blame or prosecute and hold people accountable, but we need to remember what happened. And it was literally 30 years ago to the day, while we're going to be in court talking about this. So that's deep. I mean, that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Not only is it deep, it's probably spiritual, right? And it can work for you or it can work against you based on how media and social media, how deep they put their hands in it and sway the jurors and sway the, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% correct. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. This whole thing has been this weird kind of double-edged sword. What might help you also can hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, but one thing I got that I wished I could say, because I focused on Pac so hard, because it's like, if you get too stretched out with the whole thing between the two, Pac and Biggie, it's kind of, you get real shallow, because it's like taffy. You keep pulling it, it gets thinner and thinner the more you pull. I wanted to make sure that I was good at something. We make sure that we hit this hard and you just focus on this. But now that this is winding up, and Russell Poole, who was the lead investigator on the Biggie case for years, and by many think he's the guy that kind of figured it all out. When he passed away a couple years ago, he left me, RJ, he left me his entire investigative case file.
Oh my God.
And we're not just talking about.
You just put a target on your back.
What's that? Well, maybe. But the thing about it is, it wasn't just what was in the police file, like what Greg Kading or somebody else might have had that was working the Biggie case. This is his own personal notes, his own, notepads just notepad after notepad of information. And I know he wanted me to have it for a reason.
Yeah.
And he was a good friend of mine, a dear friend of mine. And he knew that for everything he knew about Biggie, I knew about Pac. And so we had that kind of that mutual, we kind of connected like that. And that's, he became just a very close friend of mine. But when he left that stuff and I came in, there's just boxes of material, business cards, even in his index binder with all the business cards and contacts that he had. What an amazing ground that you have to do. So to your point, I'm kind of excited about it. I'm cautiously, like you said, I'm kind of cautiously walking on that, but there's so much stuff that Russ gave me just to go through. I got a team of people, Don Sikorsky's people and all that, helping me mine all of this so that we can catalog it, try to make it make sense. When you just got bankers boxes full of documents and stuff, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot there.
Be careful, because if anything in there jeopardizes Diddy's freedom, because the timeline of him maybe be about to be released, and we believe he had a hand in, it looks like he had a hand in that murder. Just be mindful and be cautious, right?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And how did he die?
Who, Russell Poole? Russ had a heart history. He had heart problems because he didn't take very good care of himself. He went through a lot of stress with the LAPD, but he actually was kind of overweight, and he was just, he was on the mend because he started taking some heart pills and he started doing better. But he was at a meeting with the LA County Sheriff's Department. He was in a meeting with them where he was discussing his latest findings in the Biggie case. And he literally dropped dead right there in the at the sheriff's station.
Yeah. This is a lot, but I'm appreciative of you being here. And I'm glad that the Shakur family showed up at your Atlanta premiere and they have your back, and they're all in.
Yeah. So we want to, obviously that's something that's bothered me a lot because there's no closure there. The circumstances and how it happened. And of course, people with the tinfoil hats get out there and a heart attack gun or whatever it is that they came up with how they, process that. I just miss Russ. He was my friend. I miss Frank Alexander. Frank and I were 10 years friends before the subject of Tupac even came up. I met Frank under completely different circumstances, but it was the strength of that friendship. Frank is the godfather to my son. That was that relationship, just like with Russ, where I feel like I'm blessed because two people who were key to two different investigations trusted me to kind of be a sentinel, to kind of keep trying to get the message out, trying to keep getting the facts out so that people can actually make a decision. If Vegas PD ain't going to figure it out, if LAPD ain't going to figure it out, let's try to get to the bottom of it. Let's try to knock it out. So.
Did your interest in all of this come from you being a Pac fan or a fan of the culture, or like, why are you so invested?
Well, now it's become kind of second nature. I feel like, that I'm very, culture sensitive in terms of, how I interact with the culture. When I first got involved with it, I was actually a filmmaker doing other kinds of films. I was doing fiction. I was doing ghost story movies, ghost horror movies and all that. And Frank, because we were friends and he had already done a documentary, Before I Wake, which was a really, big groundbreaking documentary at the time. And he had written his book. When he came to me, he had a very practical question. He said, hey, you make films. This is what you do. They're asking me to do maybe a follow-up or do something from Before I Wake. Would you be interested in working with me on that? And of course, being best friends, you might go, oh, sure. How much fun would that be? So that was kind of where that all started. But then from that point on, having met Afeni, having met the family, when the Assassination, the first movie in 2008 won the Atlanta Film Festival's Red Carpet Selection Award. And the family showed up at the screening of the movie. And that was, what more can you ask for? And they let us film back in the day when they had the Shakur Foundation in Stone Mountain, where they had the beautiful grounds and the statue and all that. They let us film there for the next documentary, let us shoot there on location. So, getting that, I think one of my favorite trophies is I have a poster, a Tupac assassination poster, one of them big 24, 36, big movie poster. And it's signed by Afeni.
Nice.
And that to me said everything I needed to know about her belief in what was the mission, what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
The fact finding in that. And that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me.
That's enough to keep you going. Are you going to document the trial itself?
Actually, we're in the middle of negotiating right now that access. We already have access to the courtroom. We have access, already for that. The plan is to do a behind the scenes look at how the defense puts together the case. And this would apply to any big case. And I think it's interesting if people would look at a high profile case, and you're an attorney and you just get this case and you have 90 days till you go to trial. How in the world do you put something together? How do you prepare for that? Who do you talk to? What witnesses do you get expert witnesses? Who are you going to get? And how do you comb through 30 years worth of information in 90 days?
Something will be missed.
Yeah. So that's the plan. I'm working with Don Sikorsky, who produced City of Lies, the Johnny Depp movie. Brad Furman, who was also the director of that movie. We're all they're the Biggie guys and I'm the Tupac guy. We're putting our heads all together to do a knockdown drag out project. And I'm excited about wanting to get it done. So it'll be fun.
I'm glad that everything is falling in line. I don't know, again, based on how much time has passed and, information might be missed because of people forget stuff, but I'm encouraged with you at the helm. And I just want to say this. Here's a little piece of trivia for you.
Yeah.
You remember the infamous night at the Source Awards?
Yes.
So I am the young lady that gave Suge Knight his award. And I feel like the minute I gave him his award, hip hop changed. And
it did. That was the shot heard around the world as far as I'm concerned. Wow. And you were there.
I'm the one that gave him I was the one that gave him the award.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear what was going on and the little chit chatter that was being said, come see about
you're the girl. Yeah, that's your girl. Wow. Oh, that's amazing because you are absolutely right. They talk about the East Coast, West Coast. They talk about that. I think that was the shot heard around the world. That
was it. That was a pivotal moment.
That was a declaration of war as far as I was concerned.
That's what I said. That's what I said. That is what that right there was the moment everything pivoted and it got really real, more real than they anticipated based on ego and emotion and that award platform. The same thing could have happened 100%. Behind closed doors and it wouldn't have gone as big as it did.
It wouldn't have gone as well. And they had always had been kind of out there in the ether and, and it was fun for selling records because, you had this supposed beef and it was all out there. But when he took it to reality and made it public and said the words that he said, to me, like you said, it bleep got real fast.
There's no dialing back. Right. It was it. That was it.
Right. Well, that's like, like when Will Smith slapped a guy on the stage, the reaction of the crowd to that is stunned. And I feel like it was the same way there where people were like, oh my goodness.
We didn't know
just dropped.
That's a great analogy because we did not know if it was real. We did not know how to respond and cameras were running. So.
Yes. Live TV, that's live fire exercise is what that is. And like I said, like the Chris Rock thing, it was real to Chris Rock when he got slapped. It was real to him.
But we didn't know. We would find out later. Right.
Yeah. And you're just sitting there this whole time, jaw slacked about what just happened. And I'm sure maybe you even thought that. You're like, what in the heck just happened?
Is it a skit?
So,
is it a skit? How do I respond? Because the cameras are on me.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. RJ, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, absolutely. It's been so much fun. Whenever you want to reach out, just give me a ring. Well, of course, as the trial starts to get closer, and I'm going to be on the inside looking out at everything. Feel free to reach back, and we'll catch up. We'll chop it up.
I love that. Give us some updates so we can be there in real time.
Yeah, big time.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
I'll
much.
be in Vegas. Yeah, I'll be in Vegas that whole time. So yeah, we'll be there.
Real quick question. There's a guy in Vegas that sits outside one of the courthouses and he sings this song. You're going to jail, you're going to jail tonight.
Going to jail, said you're going to jail tonight. The homies going to jail, said you're going to jail tonight. The homies going to jail.
Have you seen him?
I see him. He is not. He's on a different floor than they have the murder trials. They have the murder trials on a certain floor, but then they have like the general, breaking and entering, all the other stuff. They're on a different floor. And it was really funny when I was sitting in court and the bailiff was standing there and a lady came in and she was very confused. And she said, I don't know if I'm in the right courtroom. And the bailiff looks at her a straight face. He goes, did you kill anyone? And she says, no. He says, well, then you're not in the right courtroom. That's downstairs. So
good things he did.
I have seen him. I haven't spent any time with him because he kind of hangs out down where most of the crime is happening. The murder stuff is like way up here, and that's where I'm flying these days on that different floor. But yeah, no, that's infamous. That guy going to jail. Okay, that's infamous.
Tell him we said hello. Next time you should.
We'll do. Yeah, I'll send the shout out. We'll put him on Spotify. We'll get it out there. Right?
Yep. Thank you, RJ. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely, it was great. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Now we really got to get to Vegas. Yep, John. I gave Suge his award. See, you know what? Everybody should know that by now, but because, again, when I was doing terrestrial radio, you only had 3 minutes to talk. And unless the conversation happens to come around or get around to that, you can't Tourette syndrome be like, by the way, I gave Suge his award. Now back to the Ron P. Sports Report. You know what I mean? And then when all the movies started coming out, I was home. I was off the grid. So this is why when y'all see interviews with me now, I'm talking and it's older stories, but hopefully it's painting the picture and completing the stories for you guys in your mind, because I would never make shit up. I happen to have really been there. I just wasn't on the scene when social media and everybody wanted to know what was going on. And a lot of you people were younger then, and you're hearing my mom's favorite rapper was killed, and then my dad's favorite rapper was killed. You guys were babies. You guys were kids. Y'all shouldn't have been, listening to Hot 97 anyway. But now you're of age, and now you've got someone like me to connect the dots for you. All right. Thank you. I did a book. I need a second book, but I don't want to be a self-publisher. I want one of them checks from maybe I'll go back to Random House and say, let's do part 2, and I won't sue you for selling digital shit when we didn't have that in our contract. Yeah, but Jonesy, if you do go back, don't start the conversation that way and maybe I won't sue you. So now it's all coming together. You guys that don't know that part of me or don't know, because I don't often go all the way back pre-Dougie, but there was pre-Dougie. I was always self-motivated. So it was just a matter of time. And if you outside and you're going to run into people. I went for an interview one summer to be the receptionist at Sleeping Bag Records. And that is when I first met Kool G Rap. I didn't get the job, but I met Kool G Rap. And then soon thereafter, he came out with On the Run, which is my favorite Kool G Rap song. Damn, why your face so sweaty? And then years later, he would ask me to sing on his album, and I never like this before. And I forget I knew something like this before. And I think I've told you guys the story, how that whole thing happened. I did the song. And then one night, I think it was in 1997, Tito from the Fearless Four slid by my West End Tower apartment. That was the hub. That was a hub. If you wasn't there to see Faith or do business with Big, you were probably coming to drop something off or hang out with me. It was the hub. That was the spot. So that was the spot where I threw Brandy that birthday party and wound up having to pull her in the room and get her all the way together. But Wanye shouldn't have done it that way. But I digress. But so he came with a paper bag with $10,000 cash in it and was like, this is your money for the video. Yo, here's your ticket or your tickets at the airport. I can't even remember, but I was like, okay. And got on the plane. They did pay for Gerard, my hairdresser, and he does hair and makeup, which is perfect. They paid for him too, so he had a ticket too. But that was like a wonderful time. Actually, there's a video. If you look and you pull up Kool G Rap, Miss Jones, we flew to Puerto Rico to do the video. Let me see if I can find it. This will be so funny if I find this video. My old tales are better than your now tales. Come on, I got stories for days. And do you know what happened at the end of that weekend? So first of all that shit that was in there, he paid for. Them white actors, that mansion rent out. He took such good care of us. He paid for all that set, all that. It wasn't fake and insert a green screen. And nope, he flew us all out to Puerto Rico and let us do what we needed to do. And me and Gerard was in that motherfucking casino. Y'all know I used to go hard in the casino until the hurricane. That was the year. It was either 97, it was either 96, 97, or 98. I don't think it was 98. That motherfucking hurricane. And I told Gerard, I said, we got us a flight. We all moved our flights up. And what happened? I went to his room and either he didn't answer and we went. Was Maureen with me? I'm trying to think. Was Maureen Singleton with me? Because I think she the one that was like, bitch, I changed our flights. We getting the fuck out of here. Because some of them were like, we just going to weather it out. This is Puerto Rico. We good. We just going to stay put, hunker down. We left. Gerard stayed. And he said it was fucked up. Like the hotel got fucked up. And he was like, but I hit $803 on the slot machine. I said, okay, you're alive, right? When's my appointment? No, but yeah. Yup. He said, I knew you'd be proud of me for hitting that, for staying true to the game and hitting that jackpot. Yup. Dame said this was the era when music truly was in touch with the authentic feelings and goings on in these streets. Yup. And the way G-Rap was spitting just now, like I got chills. They're multiplying and I'm losing control. Yup. And then when Superhead, I had no idea this was going on around the Superhead time. She apparently was living with him at the time. She left a message on my at-home answering machine. Like, ma'am, like what? And I think she called and I spoke to her. I was like, did you not hear my message? It says, hi, you've reached Tarsha and Doug. We're not here. That was kind of because one of the baby mamas was always trying to like call. So I was like, all right, I'm going to fix that. So I changed the message to say that. And you hear me say you reached Tarsha and Doug. So why you think I want G-Rap? Like what? That was Superhead. Insecure then. And maybe getting choked out. I don't know. But all I know is when she came on the morning show on Hot 97 that morning with me to tell the story, I was true to my game. And I remembered that $10,000 cash in that paper bag. And I called G-Rap and Ma Barker, his new wife, and had them on a warm line waiting so they could hear for themselves what she was saying so they could defend themselves, right? That's fair journalism. You just can't have one side. Mm-hmm. That's how you want to explain it away, bitch? With your messy ass? It was journalism. Mm-hmm. You was really thinking that way, or was you trying to be a messy warm line bitch? Y'all know what it was? It was Hot 97. One of the best interviews. You know what made it a best interview? Hearing the other side, right? Superhead was on the circuit and she was burying it, like just burying them, and everybody believed the light-skinned girl, the victim. Until I hit that button and said, well, guess who's been listening all morning? And they got something different to say. Baby. Amazon mom said they definitely did you dirty because I know a lot of your songs and never really knew it was you. Just sugar hell. Yup. They kept me buried. Yup. And this was when I had left Stepson Records because I was just done with coming out with good music and it never being heard. But I hadn't completed my album with Motown yet, and Andre wasn't focused. But G-Rap is one of my favorites too. Ain't he from Queens? Here we go. Always trying to claim. Yup. G-Rap is the man. Yup. You know when that seat gets hot in them casinos, it's time to get up. Listen. You said that on Hot 97, Puerto Rico Hurricane Megatron schedule didn't fully have y'all off the air. You mentioned that curse words and all. I did? Oh my God. Girls with gats. Shannon, thank you. Ow, a little bit of messy journalism never hurt nobody. She was wild. We had 11:11. Everybody say a prayer or make a wish. I wish. Oh, that was from my Jalen. I can't wait to get him home. See, part of the problem is he's never been in Arizona. He has asthma and he's never been in Arizona this portion of the summer. And it's hella hot, like 114 on a good day. He's never been there this time. He's usually home already. And now he's still out there. And he'll be back. Georgiana, you remember that. You better shape up, because I need a man. And my heart is set on you. Air the Superhead interview one day on here, please. Jonesy Queen of three-way swoop down. Yup, Jim Jones, Cameron, Mace, Superhead, anyone, any and everyone at a time. Thank you guys. I'm going to make my way on out of here. I'm giving you a little time because I had y'all waiting. So I'm not going to not give you full 3-hour show, but I don't know if Giddy got stuff going. Did Giddy leave? I think Giddy had to go. I think Giddy probably had to go. Oh, yup, Ma Barker. Y'all remember that? But some were watching and taking notes. Rappers were caught up and bought up and lost their creative independence under the guise of becoming rich. Yup, I agree. And I'm not sure I would have been different. I guess I was too loyal. I was too loyal to the wrong thing. Loyal to the wrong record label. They didn't have no marketing budget. They didn't have no. It's always been. I don't know. Arizona is good for allergies. Air's dry. I don't know. That heat. It's that heat. Be making his test tight. Pat was in that video? No. Thanks to Girls Mom. Pat was in what video? But wait, I seen the new remix with French, Remy, and Max B. Did y'all see that? Let's see if we can pull that up. She said, New York Knicks, New York City, French, Max B, and Remy. I said, okay, all right. Did y'all see that? After that Super interview, I became a fan forever. That's when I was like, okay, Wendy, you have some competition now. Oh, because I was... And that was just me being naturally fucking nosy and true and loyal to Coogee Rap. That wasn't me even trying to out Wendy. I'm just like, bitch, you're not going to get me beat up in these streets. Not only that, you're not going to get me looking like I'm disloyal in these streets. That's worse. That's worse than being beat up. That means niggas won't even let you sit with them because you fucking disloyal. But where did it get me? I don't know. Where did it get me? They got the money, the plaque in New Jersey and Connecticut if you in here. Who agrees with Nia? I like the song though, at least, you know. But it's time. It's time. And I'm not mad. Bus came out last year when he thought they was going to do it. Or was he doing it for the Liberty? Who did he? I know he did a song. Y'all got to help me. My memory fails sometimes. I'm not mad at Bus. Bus should have had a verse. Why they all can't get on one song together? Max B. Well, Max could just dance in the back. French, Remy, Nas, Jada, and Busta. Come on, royalties. Right? Right? Amazon Mom, thank you. She said she loves the hair in the interview. It was the hair this morning that I snatched off. Because, you know, when I get that hot flash and going. I love Nikki's voice. This is my diary. Did you not get a red flag with Wendy being fake towards you, Miss Jones? I knew what Wendy was from day one. I know what Wendy was, but I was a fan. She was my coworker. She was Wendy Williams, right? I was Miss Jones, the singer. Let me tell you my first interaction with Wendy. I was like you, minding my business, trying to get on, trying to establish myself, going through personal loss. And she was doing Make It or Break It. And she said, I've got a new song here from a girl out of Queens. I don't know, little college girl, whatever. And she played my song and my phone, the house phone on the wall with the coiled up cord, started ringing. And they're like, they're playing your record on the Wendy. They're playing your record. So me and my boyfriend who lived with me at the time, because he moved in right after my mom passed away, Walter, we got on the phone and started calling the 98.7 Kiss hotline because she wanted to know, make it or break it. So she took some calls and they were like, oh, we like it, or I don't know, something. It was positive. And then Walter motherfucking got through on the coil cord phone on the wall. It was eggshell white. He got through to Wendy. And she actually talked to him. It wasn't just the, all right, we'll break it or we'll make it or whatever. She talked to him. She was like, so Walter, what are your thoughts? He was like, no, I like it. Is what did he say? Because I'm standing there like this, looking at his mouth, like, what is she saying to you? And he's like, I like it. It's fresh. It's new. It's different. So I'm going to make it. Yeah, let's make it. And she goes, Walter, do you know her? And he was like, I kind of went to college with her or something. And she goes, all right, Walter, we can't listen to you, but the majority says we're going to make it. And I still didn't know her then. I'm still Miss Jones, the radio personality. And then my publicist at the record label. Obviously we recorded it when it played back, and the record label heard about it, right? Because that's big news. And Wendy BLS, and not BLS, it was 98.7 Kiss she was on. She wasn't even on Hot 97 at that point, and nor was I. They heard it because you played Kiss in your offices back then. And they heard it and they're like, this is great. You know, the record is getting picked up. Wendy Williams played it. And she's going to play it all week because now it got made it. And so my publicist, Kelly Jackson, who started Sway in the Morning, Kelly Kincaid, she was my publicist. And her soror, their AKAs, Lisa, was Wendy's best friend. Y'all wouldn't, if you know, you know. I ain't got to prove nothing. Y'all know the names. I have no reason to lie and make these connections. Word got Wendy. So they asked if I wanted to come up and do the countdown with Wendy one night. And I'm like, of course, like what? So it's the night of the countdown. Kelly's with me. And she's like, hold on. Don't go in the elevator yet. Let the delivery go up. I'm like, what delivery? She goes, Lisa told me that Wendy's favorite thing on a pizza is anchovies or something. We were always the label because we didn't have money. We had to come with things. We had to be creative. So I said, I don't want to just go up to Wendy empty-handed. let's bring us some pizza. Let's bring some, I don't think I said wine because I didn't start drinking wine until much, much, much later. But I definitely was a foodie all along. And I said, let's bring her pizza. Lisa let Kelly know that Wendy loves anchovies. So when the pizza came, I walked in, Wendy had already opened the box and she hugged me like a fucking bear. I was like, oh my God, who told you I love anchovies? No one will ever order me a pizza in here with anchovies because it stinks up the whole studio, but you knew. And that is how our thing kicked off. Over motherfucking anchovy. Shout out to the fish. It always comes back to the fish. The pussy in the dick, the fish. Ah! So that was our first meeting. That was our first meeting. Georgiana, it was postponed because it was postponed. But thank you for asking. But yup. Yep, Lisa Carnegie. See, y'all can connect the dots on your own. Right, we still mad at Max. Exactly, Tosh. Talking about the Remy Ma, Max, French Montana, New York Knicks song. We still mad at Max so he could dance in the back, but we can get them, Busta, Nas, and Jada on the song. Nia, yup, me and Walt my chocolate malt. And Walt, just for trivia's sake, if you go on YouTube and you pull up Miss Jones, Soul Train, Walter is part of my show because I did a song that had a guy's voice on it and didn't think that I needed to have hired an actor to do the part on Soul Train. And since Walter was right there, we were like, you got to do it. You got to do the part. So if you go on YouTube, I bet you I can make you love again. Full Force wrote that song for me. Baby, if you don't believe it, your heart won't mend. I can make you love again, baby, baby. And I bet you love me, baby. Which makes this platform so much fun. I could never get into the radio. Always a busy signal. Yup. Listen, back in the day, that's all we had was a warm line or a hotline trying to get into a request line. Oh my God, I love your comments. We're all over the place. We're talking about Nikki and the Diary of a Diva interview. And we're talking about Max B, Lisa Carnegie. Yeah. Y'all remember? Look, we got stories, children. We have stories if you ever slow your fast asses down to hear. And then you'll understand why things are the way they are, why we move the way we move. Anchovies. That's how me could. Yeah. She was like, oh my God. And it always comes back to the. Yeah, we still mad at Max B. We need a full outright apology to Big Daddy Kane. Or you going in the Kevin box. That's what I know. Now, where were we? What were we about to play? This is my diary. Okay, it's very viral. All right, viral. Oh, all right. I give good interview. That's the other thing. I give good interview because I'm never going to, of that I can remember. That's why I like keeping Mike Sean around because Mike remembers all the details and it'd be important shit. And I'd be like, you're right. So-and-so was there. Oh my God. Yeah, we were such and such and such and such because I can't remember it all. Colon. Where was I going? Oh, we were going to watch. Does it even matter now? Did y'all see, I didn't see Tamar perform at the Roots Picnic. I saw a video of that. I didn't get to none of my notes for today's show. Tamar was at the Roots Picnic singing Not Gonna Cry. And people said, why is she always trying to spend her life sounding like her sister Tony? Tamar just can't wait. How about we get Tamar on R&B Divas New York? Don't she got an apartment out here? Ooh, would that be a thing? Or are we Tamar'd out? Or would somebody be going to jail? Because I swear to you, going to jail tonight. Going to jail. Tell me, are we doing Tamar or not, people? Before I start this story on how I need to put my foot all the way up Tony's ass. Thank you, Be True. The funniest story is still your interview with Soleil. You checked her all the way down. I was laughing my ass off. Yeah, and somebody keeps asking, can she be on R&B Divas? No. Hard no. No. It was up to 25K last time I looked. Okay, 25K. But what do I do with 25 carats? Music in the air. What am I going to do with that? Try said when you read it and talk, that's the best part. Used to call the station for tickets and they answer and say, you calling 96, we looking for 97. But then there'll be some people that actually like be counting and calculating and recording. And was trying to get me and Wayne in trouble. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about no tickets. I don't even want to count. Like, I don't have no telephone operators, no calls, nothing. Y'all can have these tickets. Caller number 1 could take them shits. But when we were younger, yes, it was the power. We was all into our fucking power feelings of I got something you want and no, you got to work for it. Now I don't give a fuck. No Tamar, okay. And then Sviddy says, Sydney, SVDNI said it won't hurt. Amazon mom said, get out the cigarette for Tamar. That's so stupid. Did you see that? If anything, they need our content. And the internet just made it so anybody with Wi-Fi and a microphone can say whatever and reach the people. We don't need them to filter us. We don't need Paramount to give us good programming. We don't need that. You said, where is Walter now? Walter is married with kids, living like above the Bronx, I think, in Elmont. How you stalking online and going through people find me and all the people searches and trying to figure out if you won or he won? I'm just saying. Y'all are stupid. Oh, see, I didn't even know because I don't fuck with BET. Equalizer, yep. Every weekend, Jaguar over Tay. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one checking on the status of exes. Jag will bring the ratings. Jag might cost us the franchise, though. I love Jag in doses. I'm going to give everybody a shot to sell themselves and tell us what your storyline is and see if it fits. I'm not mad, but Jag in doses. I can't keep taking L's. Like at some point, I got to get my Latifah and LL and Bob Johnson on too. If I don't hit your comments, don't think I'm doing it purposely. I'm not. I'm just trying to hit. Yeah, the genie's out the bottle. Thank you, AO. Dr. Ebony. Child, if y'all get Jag on RB Diva, she will turn Nikki's network upside down. Be careful. That's why I said what I said. It's got to be Jag in doses. Dosey-do. I like Hammer in the Geico commercial. I'm getting tired of Ludacris in the Geico commercial and all them car commercial, this commercial, that commercial, but who am I? Yeah. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But I tell you this, she's the only one that followed the rules to this day. The R&B divas still having side conversations, and ain't nobody followed the rules. It's rules. And see, and this is what's going to be brought up in episode 1. Why you ain't follow the rules? I just want to know. Don't throw no water on me. Answer the question. Because forget not that I'm kind of like the Shawnee. There's an email address. Submit your shit. So I have been talking to Yummy because we need 1 or 2 youngers. You said Luda is such a bad actor. Imagine if Jag gets on the show and does nothing but sings and everyone else is the drama. What a plot twist. And that's why I'm saying it's all in the edit. You never know. You never know. It's all in the edit. The shit you see is the shit that it's designed for you to see. Don't be nobody's fool. How can someone turn a network that's hurting upside down? Anything, she can only help it. I don't know. I don't know. Because Paramount is about, if she's talking about people eating children and shit like that, and say, for example, Jay does a deal with Paramount, and Paramount, you know, then what? Then by goes my R&B Divas New York. So you got to be very careful nowadays. They look for any reason, and they're collaborating. Like Jay might purposely go do a deal with Paramount just to shut our shit down because he's not too fond of me. I shouldn't say that. I don't know. We never had beef. Unless he takes the Hungry song personally. But the rose, but the rose, but the rose. Bring the food in. Hungry, hungry. I can smell the food all the way from here. Can't you see the glow on my growing frame? I can smell them cook. And I know they're near. Every time I smell them, I get hunger pains. Everybody's acting like it. So afraid of getting fat. But I know nothing's worse than trying to fit my sloppy ass in Darien jeans. And finally my zipper bars. Yeah, he ain't fuck with me. Baby, it's blue. You're the excuse I need to eat all these Krispy Kremes. Baby, I blame it on blue. You're the excuse I need to eat all these Krispy Kremes. And when Jay tries to tell me stop, I say put some ice cream on top. Yeah, he ain't fucking with me. Yeah. Jay, you shouldn't be fucking with me. I was bad. Unintentional. Yeah. Breakfast Club is supposed to clip giving their thoughts on Michael Jackson's verdict. They said they didn't like it. Okay. Breakfast Club is different now too. Pay attention to Netflix affiliations. They can only say, but they can only think a certain way. They cannot go against the Netflix. They can't. And Netflix is ready to replace them for a younger version that's way less money. Thank you, Chris. And I ain't got no problems with nobody on there. Y'all know Envy is my brother, but this is bigger than him, Nino Brown. Listen, y'all, stop. Y'all making it worse. He's gonna go and do a deal with Paramount. They're gonna shut down the whole thing. But we didn't say we was taking R&B divas there, no way. Oh, wait. What's happening? Unintentional. Wait, what happened? What did unintentional say? Unintentional, damn you. Yeah, Amazon mom. What is unintentional saying? Unintentional saying, come on, run. Listen, the Michael Jackson doc was great. His lawyers, all right, but I just, like, we went through this already. He's innocent. So stop even leaving a question of a doubt of somebody, the vultures to come. No, that's a parody I made up when she got pregnant with Blue Ivy back in 2009 or 10. And I sung it, me and Mike Sean. And we put it on CD. We got all our parodies on CDs. That's so funny. Hungry, hungry. I can smell the food all the way from here. Can't you see the glow on my growing frame? I can smell them cook. And I know they're near. Every time I smell them, I get hunger pains. Everybody's acting like I'm so afraid of getting fat. Have you seen my mother? That's what Mike Sean said. But I know nothing's worse than trying to fit my sloppy ass in dairy on jeans. And finally my zipper burst. Baby, it's you. You're the excuse I need to eat all these Krispy Kremes. Baby, I blame it on blue. You're the excuse I need. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I woke up this morning wanting to listen to? Let's chill. Ooh, oh, baby. Wait, you said one of them needs you if their marriage divides? Why you say? Well, they may not be completely accurate, but he's also not all the way wrong. You know how you can be rich on paper or rich off paper, but poor on paper or the other. So they probably have things they could leverage and sell. But the fact that they had to take a second mortgage out on that house in Malibu, I think it was, that they paid too much for. Yeah. Yep. Keep your VCRs, keep your disc players, keep all the things. Right? And I don't even know. Then the first time I saw your name. Where is she at, Vice Principal? Thank you for the lunch money. I'm going to get a nice. Can I just tell you something real quick? Last night, and then I'll let you go. So last night, I went to my favorite place, Eddie V's. I usually get the oysters, but I also wanted the steak. I've been wanting the steak, even though I told you my son Che cooks for himself every night. He goes to Wild Fork, he gets lamb chops, chicken tenderloins, steaks, steelhead trout, and he throws down in the kitchen. All I have to do is make the garlic pasta that here come the cat. The cat's like, all right, it's been three hours. It's time. So I went to Wild Fork for him to set him up. And then I went to Eddie V's because I wanted a steak. And I only wound up eating a few bites, but the steak was so good. So I brought it home. And Che and I shared the steak. He was going to make his own, the Wild Fork that I bought him. But I was like, here, you can have this. And he was like, I like mine better. But I just love the fact that I feel like that's our interpretation of sharing a meal. That's this family's version of having dinner together. Sorry. Yes, Trinero, it's a great day to be positive. Here go Natalie with her shit. Here go Natalie. Are we having a Friday show? I don't know. I don't want to commit. If we don't have a Friday morning show, you know Jones and After Dark kicks off on Saturday. The 6th. Oh, no, I can't do tomorrow. I got to take Che to, nope, can't do it. Che got invited to a football camp. And let me tell you something. I discovered the bullshit. The camps, they put out the dates for your kids to come. and they're official. There'll be coaches they're looking. But before that happens, if the coach is interested in your kid, they call and invite the kid to a pre-camp camp. How you pre-camp it? I don't even know. So I had signed him up for the regular camp, which is weeks away. And then the coach was like, we're having a pre-camp camp. So can you come on the 5th? So tomorrow he'll be at the pre-camp camp. So I would love to be there. Maybe I'll pop back on tonight. Maybe. I don't know. It depends. Mikkel is back. I'm about to have a salad with avocados, hard-boiled egg. I don't like anybody's grilled chicken. I just don't. It's too tight. It's too dry. I don't like white meat. Any of it. And gorgonzola cheese. Oh my God, it's so good. Oh. And they have this citrus dressing that goes on it. So that's where I'm going right now. My mouth is already watering. Listen to me, Emily, the oysters from Eddie V. As long as you get the right ones. Like I like mine to taste a little minerally. I like a mineral taste in my oysters. Yup, the pre-camp. Yup. Just like we were talking earlier on the Rompy Sports Report about how a championship team is it be things. It be things. It's never what it appears. But we just gonna keep on keeping on, and keep on moving forward. It's all right. It's all right. It was someone had a graduation down in Atlanta. One of the surgeons that was supposed to see me. And that's what happens when you go through a friend in the office instead of going through the secretary. That's what they're there for, right? The secretary would remember say the doctor is not going to be around, but it's okay.